Whenever I get asked if I like Coldplay, it's a bit of an interesting question. Because old Coldplay, like this, sounds nothing like new Coldplay. Old Coldplay often used an acoustic guitar as the primary instrument, with an intricate strumming pattern and tuning. Whereas new Coldplay sounds like this. For me though, it's an easy enough question because I tend to like both styles. But I can completely understand why someone would like old Coldplay, not new Coldplay, or vice versa. Because this is a guitar channel, I'm going to be focused mostly on how to get that same sound that Chris Martin gets on his old music, but he does bring that back sometimes for his new music as well. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how Chris Martin from Coldplay gets those guitar sounds that he gets, and how you can borrow those techniques when you are writing your own guitar music. Now just before I get into that, I want to let you guys know about my new website, freeguitarmusic.net. It's an excellent source for free guitar tabs and sheet music. Just click on the kind of music you're looking for, browse the selection, click on something you want to play, and then you can just print it right from the website. So have at it. Alright, so how do you make your guitar playing sound more like Chris Martin's guitar playing? 2 words, pedal tones. A pedal tone is a note that continuously rings throughout a section of music, even while the notes above or below it are changing. Here's an example. I'm going to play some chords for you now in the key of E major. The E chord has an open E and an open B, right? Now most of the time, if you're playing in the E major scale, the other chords other than E are bar chords. So for example, here's E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major, and C sharp minor. Okay? But now to introduce some pedal tones in there, I'm going to adapt those other chords so that they, like the E major chord, also have an open B and open E ringing. So here's those same chords, except for I'm going to adapt them so that the open E and B continuously ring. Here we go. So notice the different texture than when I'm playing with bar chords. Now, it's not that there's never a place for that, but you'll notice that one sounds a lot more like Coldplay than the other. Versus. Now, just in case you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, just know that I am going to show you how to do all those chords at the end of the video, and I'm also going to provide you a chord chart with a link in the description. So now that you've been introduced to that concept of pedal tones, you'll start to see them all the time in Coldplay music. Here's a couple more examples.
Hands up shaking this to let you know that you've got a higher power. Got me singing every second, dancing every hour.
Here's one of Coldplay's newer songs, Higher Power. If you look at Chris Martin's guitar playing, you'll notice that he's using 1 or 2 fingers, but he's strumming all the strings. That means he's using most of the strings as pedal tones. Let's take a look at Coldplay's biggest hit, Yellow. You'll notice here on the chorus some vigorous strumming in the right hand, yet no bar chords, which means there's lots of pedal tones. so I think we get how pedal tones work now. You have a couple notes continue to ring, while the other notes change. Which works really well in certain scales, like the E scale we've been playing in. However, when you want to start playing in other scales, one thing you'll want to do if you want to sound like Chris Martin is use alternate tunings. That's when you tune the strings so they're no longer E, A, D, G, B, E, but they're more something that you can use in the key that you're playing in. Here's an example. The B major chord. Not that you have to have this memorized, but I know that the B major chord has a B, a D sharp, and an F sharp. And these notes here are all Bs, D sharps, and F sharps. If I unbar to get those two open strings, well, the B note works real well, the open B string, but the open E string creates some tension that I may not want. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the high E string, I'm going to tune it down to a D sharp so that it fits the chord. Okay? So now when I play this B chord, but I lift up so I'm not barring anymore, that high E string, which is now a D sharp, fits the chord. So here's an example of a chord progression that uses that new altered tuning. So instead of having E, A, D, G, B, E, I've got E, A, D, G, B, D sharp, so that it fits the B major chord. And just like in the other example, I'm going to alter the other chords, which would be bar chords, and change them so that the open E, which is now a D sharp, and the open B continuously ring. Alright, now it's your turn. So in the description of the video, you'll see a link to some sheet music. It doesn't cost you anything, you don't have to sign up for anything. Just click the link, and you can print off the sheet music or just download it, look on your phone or tablet. I'm going to go over each example with you. Some of them have strum patterns that you might not be ready for yet, so if that's the case, then you can just try to strum one chord per measure or make up your own easier strum pattern. But I'm going to go over each one how it's written, and then if you need to adapt it for your own skill level, that's just fine. So let's go ahead and get into them. Example number 1 is in the key of B minor, and it uses the open D as a pedal tone. This one you can use a pick or you can use fingers and just pluck the notes. There's only 3 notes happening at a time, so I'm going to use my fingers. But if you want to use a pick, that's fine. Just mute the strings you don't want to hear. Okay, here's the first example. So you can hear that open D ringing throughout each chord. All right, now to play those chords, you can look at the chord charts, but if it makes it a little bit easier for you just to watch me, it goes your second finger and your third finger whenever you're playing notes that are in the same fret. And then when you're playing notes that are in different frets, it goes 1 and 3. So it's like this: 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1 and 3. Once you've got that done, why don't you go ahead and be creative with it. Use those same chords with the open D pedal tone, but put them in whatever order you like and add your own strum pattern to it. So here's what I did. But you could change it up. You could go. And that holds true for all the examples I'm going to give you. Once you know the chords with the pedal tones, go ahead and use them to create your own chord progressions. Put them in your own order, add your own strum patterns, and be creative with it. All right, exercise number 2. On this one, I'm going to use some standard bar chord shapes, but I'm going to unbar them and then adapt them so that the open G and open E continuously ring. So here's example number 2. So on that one, you're going to want to look at the sheet music, the tabs and the chord chart to help you with those chords. But I'll go ahead and show you up close here real quick. Here's the first chord on the 7th fret. Back it up to the 5th fret. Got my pinky now on the 7th. Third chord is on the 2nd fret. It's like a B minor chord, but you've unbarred and got rid of your pinky. And then your 4th chord here is on the 3rd fret. We're gonna got my pinky on the 5th. So one more time. And that pattern is like this. And just a reminder, if those strum patterns are too hard, you can just make up your own strum pattern or just strum once per measure. Like that. Okay, and here's example number 3. Alright, this one will be a bit easier to understand if you're already familiar with major and minor bar chords. But if you're not, that's okay, still stick around. Also, I'm going to provide you a link in the description for a free lesson on major and minor bar chords, so check that out. Okay, so on this one, we're going to be using our open E and our open B as our pedal tones. For those familiar with bar chords, you may know that the major chords in the E scale are the E, the A, which is this bar chord shape on the 5th fret, and the B, which is this bar chord shape on the 7th fret. Now to get that pedal tone technique, instead of barring though, you're just going to lift your index finger so it does not touch the E string or the B string. So it sounds like that. So I'm going to be doing that on all my major chords. For the minor chords, if you're used to doing bar chords like this, where you have your root note, your 3rd finger, your pinky, and then just barring, right? So instead, what you're going to do is you're going to get rid of your index finger here, take it off the low E string, and put it on the 3rd string, 3 strings down. And then just strum these 5 strings. Don't strum your low E. So your minor bar chords, instead of barring, again, take your index finger off and put it on the 3rd string. And you'll listen to those 5 strings. So I usually use this 3rd finger to kind of bump into the low E string so it mutes it. That way I don't have to watch it very carefully. Okay, so the minor chords in this scale are F sharp minor, G sharp minor, and C sharp minor. So now I'm going to play them like this. So here's that exercise one more time. And again, if the strum pattern is too tough, just do 1 chord per measure. Or just make up your own pattern. Okay, last one, exercise 4. So this one I am going to take my high E string and tune it down to a D sharp. You can use a tuner, whoops, or you can just make it so that the high E sounds like your 4th fret on your B string. And here's what it will sound like, then I'll break it down for you. chords on this one are played pretty much the same as they are in exercise 3, where your major chords are going to look just like a standard bar chord, except for you unbar them. So you have an open B and E, which is now tuned to a G sharp, like that. So it starts on the 7th fret, then goes down to the 2nd fret, then it goes to an open E chord, then it goes to a G sharp minor. So if you're used to going to G sharp minor, like 4th fret and then a minor bar chord shape, like that, now you're going to take this index finger and put it on the 3rd string, just like we did for all the minor chords in the last exercise, like that. And then you got that compound meter in there. It'll sound like this. Okay, after the repeat sign, you go on to the next part. This is going to be basically the same as if you weren't tuned differently, if you were just doing a straight minor bar chord with the root on the 5th string, except again, you're going to unbar. So it looks like this. On the 4th fret, that's your C sharp minor. Move it up to the D sharp minor, same thing, just don't bar. Then our final chord, which is kind of a fade out chord, you're going to go to this major 7 chord shape, which is the root on the E, so that your 7th fret. Right there, 9th fret, 8th fret, and back to 9th fret. And we throw in the low E just to make it sound a little deeper. Then let it fade out on that one. Okay, so here's that whole exercise one more time. I'll talk you through it as I'm playing it. We got this 7th fret here. 2nd, open, G sharp minor, repeat. C sharp minor, D sharp minor, E major 7. Like that.
I'm going back to the start.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this introduction to pedal tones and alternate tunings will help you sound a little bit more modern, a little bit more creative in your own songwriting. Be sure to check out freeguitarmusic.net for free guitar tabs for you or for your students. Appreciate you guys. See you later.